Hey, buddy, just breaking down your swing here um, from our last session. And I got to be honest, there's a lot of good things here. I'm just going to talk about some of the things we like and a couple adjustments you could maybe work on. And remember, it's just things you could add to your toolbox, not trying to change your swing or anything like that, just to make some minor adjustments. Let's get into it right now. So, um, broke down about four of your last swings in your last round, and there's a lot of good things here. Um, Couple things we can look at though. Let's see what you got for the first four. These are the ones we're working with here. Pretty solid contact, bouncing off the bat.
Here, Jacob.
Right back to the L screen. Um, Overall, I think you had a great approach this time. You're not over swinging. Some of the things we've been working on the past few months, I think you're really starting to get the big picture here. I know you're putting the work in, and it's nice to see these things paying off. Um, I really like, and I'll break it down frame by frame here. I really like some things in your upper body. Okay, I think your upper body is very quiet in these swings here. Not a lot of movement, head staying still. Um, we'll talk about the lower half in a minute, but focusing on the upper body, not a lot of room for error here. And I love the head placement. You know, starting your swing here, head on the front shoulder, right, looking down right at the barrel, down your arms, down that V, right to the point of contact here. Your head's right on the ball, which is nice. And you're finishing on the back shoulder, shoulder to shoulder with the head. That's pretty good stuff here. Starting from the beginning here, let me just get my pen. Um, some of the things that are jumping out here, right? You're pretty balanced in your load. There's not too much going on here, straight up, straight down. I think there's more room in the legs here, and we'll talk about the load in a second. But you know, right here, this is that launch position that they talk about here, and I love where your hands are. Hands are back, right? You got the knob pointing downward here, straight back here. Good stuff here. Head's locked on the front shoulder. Foot, you got a good job putting the whole foot down, getting the heel in the ground, sticking in the ground. Rear leg, this is ready to turn in. You do a good job here with these swings, turning this leg in, letting the hips come, and everything's going this way. And once again, that balance up and down here, right? That balance in the middle. It's pretty good stuff. Right here, dropping the knob right through the zone. You see that back leg turning in. Firm front side on the front leg here, straight down here. Knob leading the way, coming through the zone. That back hip and that back elbow, back knee all working together here as you approach the ball. Dropping the barrel right on it, getting in front of the zone. You can see it launching off the bat here. You know, I really like this power V coming down here. A lot of good things in this clip right here, in this frame. I like the extension through the ball, right there, that power V, firm front side here on the front leg, close to a 90 here in the back, getting some power, and then of course the head, you know, straight down the action here, ball's jumping off the bat. It's good stuff. Pretty good follow through, good finish here. The thing I really like is just your approach during these swings. Okay, it's balanced, not a lot of moving parts. You're not trying to crush the ball. You're focused on hitting it right back where it came from. You know, all the stuff we talk about. Not trying to do too much, which is something we've been working on with you for a while now. So a lot of good things. Couple small adjustments that we're going to focus on here, and I threw some comparisons up there. One thing that I noticed, and this is kind of nitpicky because I thought this is one of your best rounds you've had in a long time. Here's your load, okay, frame by frame here. All right, balanced, you know, upper body we talked about, good right there. That's right before launch position, looks good. The one thing I do want to focus on, I'll bring up a guy in a second who does a really good job of it. You'll hear his name a lot very soon. And it has to do with this front hip right here. Not a big deal. Once again, very, very nitpicky, but something you can work on, you can be aware of. It should help you as far as, you know, building power, getting ready for that snap when you're about to launch. But right here, a lot of people, you know, they talk about internal hip rotation. You know, I say it's closing the front hip, and you want this kind of going inward here. I say sometimes, you know, hiding the belt buckle, that would be right here. so that it's keeping your front side closed all the way up. You do a good job keeping the upper body up here closed off. I just want to make sure all this stays closed here as well. So we get this heading in this direction, this arrow, closing it off right before, you know, you get that heel strike and you're ready to open the hips up. I think it'll just add to the swing, add a little more pop. And I'll show you guys really good at it. See right there, it stays a little, it's not open, but we could close it off a little bit more. It should help. Here's a guy that you might know, Spencer Torkelson, first round pick, $9 million signing bonus, Arizona State. And there's some comparisons that could be made between your swing and his. And when we're talking about that front hip, here's him and you side by side. Okay. Pretty similar stuff here. We'll talk about the elbows in a second, but especially with the lower half, there's some similar things. You're going to notice here is that he does a good job of turning that, you know, that front hip in, you know, prior to landing on the front foot and getting ready to launch like that. Okay. You see him turned in, his belt buckle's kind of pointed towards the catcher a little bit, closing off that whole front side. I mean, if you're looking at, you know, from the foot to his head here, he's pretty closed off all around. About to land that foot, right? Closed inside knee here, closed, head locked on, all the way up and down that side, all closed off here. And you're pretty good at this. Here's you. He's a little more exaggerating that close, right? As he lands, here go the hips and the hands, right? You see that belt buckle still not showing yet. And then soon as it's go time with those hips and the hands, you see him open those hips and you get a lot of power that way. I mean, he's hit, I think, close to 70 home runs in 2.5 years at Arizona State. Something small, but if we're going to focus on something next session, maybe closing that front hip a little more, right? Hiding that front belt loop, hiding that belt buckle, the internal hip rotation, and then ready to get it to snap off and launch. Another thing that stood out to me a lot is, and we've talked about this before, I know you're working on it, these elbows. You got your top hand right arm elbow point up to the sky up here. Here's another 2 different loads here, and you can see where the elbows are, right? Kind of pointed up. Even on the follow through, you have that almost a 90-degree bend, you know, pointing up to the sky here. And, you know, you're doing a good job controlling the barrel for the most part. You had some good contact on these swings, but I don't want to show you a comparison here. I just think that there's a lot of room for error when you start playing around with those elbows. And just to show you what I'm talking about here, I know we mentioned the other one here. This one's kind of going up, and you're going to put it up and then away this way. And if you look at some other good hitters, here's the video from you at the park the other day. And this is before you worked on it. That's a 90-degree right there for the most part. And side by side with Kyle Lewis here. Okay, point of contact, both of you. You could see kind of the you're locked up in the elbows. Once again, not a major problem, but definitely something we could work on here. Yeah, let me show you what else I got. Okay. Looking at using the Spencer Torkelson example again, you see his follow through here, his elbows, right? Yours was kind of pointed up towards where that guy is sitting with the yellow shirt. He's following through, finishing that power V, getting through the ball before he puts it away. But I know you're working on it. But here's the side by side again. All right, a lot of similarities here. That front elbow compared to his again. And I know we're comparing you to the AL Rookie of the Year, but it's a good model for you. Here's another, you know, follow through shot. You do a better job here. And look at that. It's pretty close here. I mean, this is an example of your hard work paying off. Pretty close. Overall, you know, great swings you put on tape this week. The best thing that we think we see was your approach here. And, you know, I think it's translatable to games. I think when we first saw you, you know, 6 months ago, you had a lot bigger swing. You were trying to do, I think, a little too much. But now, I mean, looking at this initial swing here, and it's pretty compact. There's not too much, good balance. You know, if you take this approach into the games, I think he'd be a real tough out here. The other thing that we're concerned with going forward, and it doesn't really show up here on the film, but not changing your swing in different counts or on different pitches. Sometimes you get frozen on the outside pitch on the outer half. You know, I think this is a swing right here that translates to what we're trying to do. You know, hitting all pitches to all fields, hitting in all counts. You know, being a complete hitter. You know, you took some of that that launch out of there, and I think this is a productive swing here. So overall, it's a lot of good stuff. You know, keep an eye out for that closing that front hip to add to the snap, add a little more power and torque, a little more tension before you release, and then watching those elbows, even in the load, right arm, you know, top hand elbow, and then following through with the left, getting that 90-degree box like we looked at with the Kyle Lewis. But overall, I think it's a great job, and I'm excited to work with it again. We'll talk about it at the next session, and if you have any questions, you know, bring them in and we'll discuss them. Great job, though.